In this presentation, Oliver, Emil and myself, Victor, will present our précis about Nelson Mandela. Straight off we have some basic facts about Nelson Mandela. His nickname is, or probably one of his many nicknames, is Madiba. When elected in 1994, he became the first black president of South Africa. Before that, he was imprisoned for 27 years because of his beliefs in equality. Nelson Mandela is also the winner of a Nobel Peace Prize, and he passed away in 2013. Nelson Mandela was an anti-apartheid activist who fought ambitiously for equality. Nelson Mandela, he also joined the ARM, the Armed Resistance Movement, which is a militant African anti-apartheid movement. Because of his contribution to the anti-apartheid movement, he got served prison time in 27 years, almost 30 years in prison, and he served it. Later, he finally gained the crucial political power, and he did that in 1994 when he became the president of South Africa. The apartheid system, after he became president, fell to earth, and where the once were not equality, there now were, and in South Africa, beforehand it mattered a lot which color of skin you had, but after Nelson Mandela's president, or after he became president, the apartheid system fell to ground.
I want to talk about Nelson Mandela and the African National Congress, also called the ANC. Mandela joined the ANC in 1944 after he was introduced to the party by his friends. First, he refused any involvement with ANC, but in 1943 he befriended Asen Lambede, who was an African nationalist. After Mandela and Mandela became friends, Mandela started to go to the ANC meetings, and later on, Mandela also joined the ANC because he found out that he shared a lot of the same views as Mandela and the ANC. Nelson Mandela was one of the founders of the ANC Youth League, also called ANCYL, which is the young wing of the ANC. Nelson Mandela helped the ANC in 1948 to form a more radical mass-based policy which included the Program of Action. The African National Congress explains through the Program of Action the fundamental principles of ANC, and they are inspired by the desire to achieve national freedom. By national freedom, ANC means that they will be free of the domination from white people and want to make a country where the color of your skin does not mean anything.
Okay, thank you very much, Oliver. And now we will be moving on to Nelson Mandela's time in prison. As Victor said, Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years on an island called Robben Island. It was a pretty isolated island where the prisoners at that time really didn't have any chance to escape. I mean, this island was of course surrounded by a huge ocean. So basically Nelson Mandela would spend most of his time in this claustrophobic prison cell where the standards of living were terribly low. I mean, I have these pictures that really proves how inhumane and disgusting these standards were. You have this carpet on the floor. There's not even a mattress to sleep on. Then you have some more carpets you can use as your pillow. You have a table with a small ball on top of it, and then you have in the left corner you have a garbage can. So you wouldn't really have anything else than these materials in your prison cell, and it really proves how bad the prisoners were living during apartheid in South Africa. So during Mandela's stay in prison, he really began to practice these thoughts of equality. He had so much time to just go around and think of a way to gain political power and think of ways to gain more equality. And he really had no intentions of vengeance and revenge, because the whole idea of equality is that all the people in the country has to live peacefully amongst each other, and therefore there would be no room for revenge or killings of each other. And therefore you could say that forgiveness was his philosophy, because none of this equality or anti-apartheid would have a meaning if the blacks didn't forgive the whites for what they had done. The whites had for years treated the blacks terribly, and there was this segregation of blacks and whites, where you had like several of areas that were only legal for whites, and there were terrible areas and ghettos for the blacks. And this would end eventually when Nelson Mandela gained his power.